Now it's official.
Good morning. It's the Call Flow Radio Show, and you're on the air.
Whenever I hear that intro, I want to actually speak to Fran. It's like, hey, Fran, how's it going?
Yeah.
Yeah, another Call Flow Radio Show. Unfortunately, Chris Brochan is not with us. He's on special assignment, and that means that you have someone here who has actually never done the show where I was actually driving behind the wheel.
It's hard to believe, actually, because you've,
I've been a passenger on the show many a time.
Well, yeah.
You've rode shotgun, but that's about it.
Yep. How long have you been with WFLO?
Too long to, well, let's see. As long as I've been with it, you would think I've done the show at least once or twice.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, yes. But no.
Not
to where I was actually here, behind the mic. The mic.
Oh, no.
All right, let's see. What else do we have?
Yeah.
Did you want to delve into the Mardi Gras or just keep on?
No, that's all good.
Keeping on. Let's see.
Collection of rare centuries-old jewelry returns to Cambodia.
So it was lost and followed the breadcrumbs and went back to where it was.
It's nice when that happens, right? When the antiquities of a country get returned to them. When I was in China, my CTO took me to the city planning building for Shanghai, and they had a complete replica of this of the Shanghai, but it was attached to the museum there.
Okay.
And going through there and seeing these things that are 4,000, 5,000 years old, and they're it's amazing. You can just feel the culture so much in there. But I think I felt more culture in Europe than I did in China.
Oh, really?
Well, I think China's very young as far as the big cities like Shanghai. Beijing's a little older, but the modern Shanghai right now is only about 100 years old. So
okay.
It's interesting.
That is interesting.
What else you got here? Ooh, Egypt. What's in Egypt? I saw something there.
Egypt? Oh.
I'm interested in Egypt because of the pyramids. That's another bucket list piece of the puzzle, It's like...
I've watched a few things recently on that, and there's this... What they were sort of... The gist of what the program was basically saying that those people probably had some sort of craft-making tools that were beyond what we would normally consider them to have. That those people were more intelligent than we give them credit for.
It always amazes me what we find out and how many times we think we've learned something only to find out, a year later, a few months later, that wasn't actually true.
Right.
Which is, it's kind of, I don't know. I put a lot of faith into my science when I was a kid. So when it changes up like that, it rocks my whole foundation.
So this story says they unveiled a renovated wing of an old museum. Okay.
Is that looks like there's a sphinx there.
That's what it looks like. Yeah, right there.
That's what I want to put in my front yard. I'm just afraid.
Sphinx?
Yeah. My partner won't let me do that, though. Well, she's like, a little hesitant that the neighbors might not like that.
Well, you tell her she can dress up like Cleopatra or whatever. And
you go ride the little kitty.
I'm not going to attempt this guy's name right here on that one. Here we go with the Baldwin story. 5-year firearms enhancement dropped in the Baldwin shooting case.
What does that mean, enhancement dropped?
The prosecution in the case of a fatal New Mexico film set shooting made a stark turnaround Monday, dropping the possibility of a mandatory 5-year sentence against Alec Baldwin. It sounds to me like they're not going to pursue, going after him. I mean, we could click on it and see, but that seems to be what it looks like they're talking about. And had earlier his lawyers, Baldwin, that is, had earlier objected to the enhancement they said was unconstitutional because it was added after the October 2021 shooting. The amended complaint was made public Monday. Baldwin and weapons supervisor Hannah Reed, I'm going to skip the middle name there. Thank you. Were charged last month with felony involuntary manslaughter in the shooting and death of
cinematographer.
Thank you. It's too early in the morning for me.
Twisted us both, didn't it?
Hutchins during rehearsals in the film Rust at a ranch outside of Santa Fe, New Mexico.
What a way, life can change in a moment, right? You just never really know.
Nothing's promised to us, that's for sure. Yeah, so let me get back to where we were. There we go. And let's see, court filing prosecutors, here we go, drop possibility of a 5-year sentence in Alec Baldwin film set shooting case.
It's all the news today, I guess.
I reckon so, because we're back to Don Lemon.
Oh, what's this Quantumania? It's a new movie out, Ant-Man, and it's surprising.
Is that what it's called, Quantumania?
Yeah, it's a bit of a tongue twister.
Is it anything like Quantum Leap?
Yeah. Hey, there's a new one of those.
But is it still on the air?
I don't know. We were watching it, and then all of a sudden, we couldn't find it anymore. But we thought maybe it was.
That leads me to think that they took that show off.
It was awesome. I mean, what a great premise.
Well, I like the original, but I'm not big on remakes. But that's me. Especially if it was something you really enjoyed the first time around. It's like, repackage it all over again, and I'm supposed to just accept it. Some people do. I'm not. I just don't happen to be one of those types. Oh well.
Yeah, well.
It is what it is. All right. Yeah, because when we keep going, then we're into the news that happened before. All right. Well.
Ooh, this is. I won't read that.
All right. I tell you what, I'll pass the number around that way, or I'll announce it a couple of times here. So if you want to join in, give us something to talk about. Otherwise, we're just going to read stuff, which is always fun in radio. 434-394-0924 if you would like to call, bring something up maybe that was spoken about in a previous episode of the Call Flow Show. If not, or you can bring something new up. It doesn't matter. 434-394-0924 is the number to give us a call. I'm sorry we don't have our... this is like one of those episodes of Gunsmoke where Matt Dillon was out of town, and I would always get bored real quick. I'm like, well, if Matt's not in it, I'm not going to watch it. So I understand why people don't care if their favorite host is doing the show. I understand. I'm with you. I understand completely. So
it looks like there's another child in the news that a 5-year-old this time shooting with a gun. That's something that boggles my mind too, and I think that's an issue that kind of affects everybody. And it's so different here from other places about gun control, or what are we going to do to stop that kind of violence from children?
Well, a couple of things maybe could help. The responsibility of whoever is in what's the word I'm looking for? Not power, but the
caretaker.
Yes, thank you. Of these kids,
parent.
I don't recall ever being allowed to run around with a gun in my hand as a child, or have access to it, much less.
Do you think? I think that actually happens a lot more now, and it surprises me that people, let their children handle a gun so that they feel comfortable with a gun.
Or leave them to where they're that available.
Yeah.
Or accessible, I guess is what I'm trying to say. The other is we already have laws in the books. And if you don't enforce the laws you already have, I don't know where adding more laws that you aren't going to enforce either. I don't see where it's going to make a whole lot of difference. But I don't know. I am not a political... brain is all I realize is that whatever is being done isn't helping or doesn't seem to be working. And if you don't prosecute these people, like what Alec Baldwin story we just looked at, I mean, it sounds like nothing really is going to happen there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, the background checks and this type of thing to make sure somebody's mentally capable of, making good decisions behind a trigger. But to me, that's one of the biggest pieces that needs to be addressed. And like you said, the availability of it even more. But maybe somebody out there has an idea that could help, reduce the amount of children being killed in our schools today.
Well, we could go on and on about that. We could talk about the value of human life and how that's really dropped off, it seems. And I mean, it's many a thing. I don't think it's just one particular thing.
Exactly, and that's what makes it a difficult topic, like any other topic. Is
all right, we're going to try and see if we got our first caller for today. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi. I have a very definite idea.
Do you have your radio? I'm sorry. Do you have your radio on, ma'am? Ma'am?
The games that the kids play today have a lot to do with their psyche, and that they have to kill and maim and destroy. That's my thoughts. Aside from what everything you had said, but this is what I think. I don't think it helps it at all.
Right.
Any thoughts?
I can't argue. Really? Yeah, well, the other problem is, do you have your radio on, ma'am? Ma'am?
I just turned it down again.
Thank you.
I'm in the car.
That's okay. That's okay. It just, there's a bit of a delay, and it was sort of interfering with what you were saying. Basically, when you were talking, we were getting like a bounce back, so your voice was sort of echoing to us. So could you repeat what you were bringing up?
Okay, what I'm saying is that the games that the kids play today on the videos, the violence, the destruction, the guns, they have to kill and maim. I think that has a lot to do with their psyche, and what they're ingesting into their minds. And then they go crazy, aside from everything else that you said.
Okay.
I think you have a good point there. And I think a lot of that, even if it wasn't the actions that they're taking as they are, it is a isolation. It is a feeling autonomous without having to take responsibility for a lot of the actions, and that because when you're playing a video game, there's a lot of interactions with your fellow players. Sometimes it's good, but most of the time it's not so good. But I think you have a really good point. Is how do we reduce the amount of violence that our kids are involved in?
That's right. And for the parents to...
Yes.
Did we lose her?
I think we did.
Yeah.
Go to work.
Oh, there she is.
She's going in and out.
Uh-huh.
Well, thank you for calling, ma'am.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you for bringing
go
that.
to other kids' homes and play them there, but it's up to the parents, too, to monitor their kids. That's my feeling about it anyway.
All right. Well, thank you for bringing that up.
Okay, bye.
Bye. You go ahead. You got a longer arm. Larry's behind me helping me. I'm the short guy. My arms don't reach but so far.
Didn't sound right.
Well, But my only thing about the video games, and you're the video game guru around here, not me. And I get what she was saying, and I get what you were saying, but I'm also of one of these types where I remember as a kid where the Looney Tunes cartoons that were broadcast on TV were edited. And I remember when they weren't. And I was wondering what that was all about. And it turned out it was what we were told was because there were people that were afraid that kids would start jumping off cliffs like Wile E. Coyote and not, unlike Wile E. Coyote, survive the fall. And I thought to myself, well, isn't that interesting? As a kid, I sort of knew if I jumped off of a cliff, that would not be a good thing. So maybe it is what I was saying a little bit earlier. Maybe there's a responsibility there to teach your kids, hey, something on the game is fake, and if you do it in real life, someone can actually get hurt or killed, and you can actually get in trouble for it. I guess I come from the school of common sense, which I find a funny term. I don't know if it's that common anymore. It's more like uncommon sense.
Very true.
Unfortunately, that's the case. And I am still questioning, do we have any sponsors at the bottom of the hour? I do not see any as of right now in the book.
Nope, I do not see them.
So when we get to the bottom of the hour, that will be interesting. I will do a weather, and of course we'll do, I guess, birthdays like we do at the bottom of the hour. Or Larry actually will be your birthday announcer.
Woo-hoo.
Larry Burr will be doing that. Phone lines are open if you want to give us a call. You can talk about the violence issue, or you can talk about something else. It doesn't matter. We had pie talk the last time I was on this show. We were talking about Chris Wood's. Somebody wanted her recipe for her. Are you a pecan or pecan type person?
Pecan.
Pecan, okay.
Pecan pie.
Well, there was someone trying to get that secret recipe out of Chris, and of course she didn't bulge. Her and the Colonel have that same mentality. We're going to keep it a trade secret.
That's right. That's right.
Have you ever had her pecan pie?
Yes, I have.
It's good, isn't it?
And what about her apple cobbler? Oh my God! And her blackberry cobbler, and oh my!
Sounds like Larry's been there a few times.
Her cherry cobbler, it is so good. I mean, it's so good.
Oh, cherry cobbler! Ooh, now you're talking.
Oh, it's just she's a master.
Oh, wow!
At the cobbler.
I'm getting hungry just thinking about it.
If we say it enough, do you think we can get her to bring one in?
Wasn't she supposed to come tomorrow or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Chris, if you're listening,
yeah. Apple cobbler, peach cobbler too. Oh, man.
Wow.
Anyway, and from her own trees. That's
cool.
Yeah, exactly.
That's real cool. Yeah, we had a cherry tree, and I always remember my grandmother saying, "If you want cherries, you better pick them, or the birds are going to get them all."
That's true.
And they would.
That reminds me, it's probably getting pretty close to needing to start planting bulbs and stuff. Are you a gardener in any way?
No.
What was the look on your face?
That look of just, you don't know.
Are you kidding?
You don't know me very well, do we? No, I'm just being silly. No, I'm not a gardener, no.
Well, I've tried here at least. The first year it was okay. Last year it was a miserable disaster. It was just because I couldn't get out there and weed whenever I wanted to or needed to. So
right.
It takes a bit of work, but it's good. I mean, whoever had our yard before us, they planted flowers so that they just bloom periodically throughout the spring, summer season. It's awesome. Just like, hey, new flowers. What you got there?
I was just looking at some stuff to maybe talk about. Doesn't he read like events in history and stuff like that? And when I mean he, I mean Chris Brochan.
But that's not today.
It's not?
No. See, today in history, March 4, March 3. You know.
So why
don't make it? Don't make it later than we already are.
Why do you click on today in history and it brings up March? That's interesting.
It is.
Does it know what day it is in history?
You'd think it would.
You would. You are correct, sir. Let's see. Well, we get to do birthdays here pretty soon. It looks like what's really sad when you look at celebrity birth, at least for me, looking at celebrity birthdays is when I look at it, the only guy I really recognize is no longer with us.
Oh.
Alan Rickman.
What was his main role? What was his big
I'll tell you what,
claim to fame?
For me, and probably for a lot of people, it might be a different answer. Some people would say, younger people would say, what was that movie based on the books, that the children's books? And it was all about magicians and
Dr. Seuss.
No. It was
Harry Potter.
Yes, I think he was a character in one of those.
Oh, yes, he was. Yes, absolutely.
But for me, my generation, he was the lead villain in Die Hard with Bruce Willis.
Oh yeah. Oh, he doesn't look anything like that in his picture here. But you can see it once you mention it.
That's the role for me that put him on the map, I think.
Oh yeah.
I mean. But then so that begat some other villainous roles. So after that, I don't know the actual order of movies, but he was a villain also in the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves Kevin Costner movie. Do you remember that?
Yeah, absolutely.
He played the Sheriff Nottingham.
Oh, yes.
He had really black hair and black mustache and beard.
Oh, wow. You see this? Elliot Page died at 36. She's been
wait. Before anybody we get the calls, that's her birthday, man.
Oh, my goodness. I'm so sorry.
See, Alan Rickman has the date of when he was alive, from 1946 to 2016. Alan Page is 36 today.
Sorry,
I'm sorry.
Elliot.
I apologize. I said her what was her name at one point in time. It's Elliot now.
Elliot.
She's
good. I think she's a phenomenal actor.
I only saw her in an X-Men film, or him.
No, she was I'm pretty sure she was in the Umbrella Academy. That series, which I enjoyed quite a bit. You?
I've never watched that.
Now, what's your favorite TV show?
TV show?
Mm-hmm. We're getting
or all time.
Let's do both.
I don't have a favorite TV show as of right now. I don't watch regular television, much less any TV as far as shows. All time, The Wild Wild West from the 60s. Robert Conrad.
I see.
Yeah. And why?
Oh,
if you know anything about the show, you'd know why. A lot of violence, a lot of pretty women. It was James Bond in the West.
Aha.
And Robert Conrad was the main star, and he had a co-star, Ross Martin, who was a theatrical kind of guy. He was the master of disguise.
Oh.
Good actor. Ross Martin could do these dialects and whatnot, and very reminiscent of Mel Blanc type thing, but he was so you had a yin and a yang. You had the tough guy and the ladies' man Conrad, and then you had the Ross Martin character who was this, he could come in and be a Jewish tailor, or he could be playing the role of some royalty of some type. He could do whatever, and it was, to me, that was a neat show. My dad got me on hooked into that when I was a kid. But as of now, I couldn't tell you. So what's your favorite as of right now?
Wow.
Or do you have a favorite?
I have no idea. Actually, yesterday we were binging Carnival Row, which is a little dark, but it's good. It's creative. That's the top thing for me. I like a creative story. I also like shows where the plot continues to grow and it continues to move ahead. I'm not a big fan of the sitcom necessarily as much, but I will watch if I need to.
Okay. Well, I guess we need to do, speaking of birthdays, we need to do the actual birthdays, the local birthdays.
Well, let's do it then.
Or get ready to. I'll do the weather real quick. Or do you want to do the birthdays first?
I have no preference.
All right, we'll do the weather first, and then we'll build up the suspense that way. All right, for today, sunny skies, a high near 71, breezy with a, with winds could be, or gusts could be as high as 34 miles per hour. 71 today. Wow, that sounds really good.
It does.
That sounds nice.
Want to go fishing?
Fishing tonight, and I get my nephew, he loves to fish. Increasing clouds, a low around 41 for Wednesday, mostly cloudy with a high near 65, mostly cloudy Wednesday night with a low around 56. Thursday, mostly sunny, a high near 82. And that was Larry. Thursday night, mostly clear with a low around 53. And Friday, mostly sunny, a high near 62. If that was supposed to be sponsored, I do not see it. And I have looked around, and I have gone through the book here. And let's see. Folder on desk. I don't see it. Do you?
Nope.
No, I don't either. All right, so with that, let's look at what it is doing currently. Humidity at 91%. The winds are from the south about 3 miles per hour. Barometer 29.67. And right now we have fair skies, only 49 right now.
I bet if you refresh it, the temperature will go up.
It might. No, not this time.
You did, well,
We're holding.
Good for you.
49. All right, so let's see. There's nothing else in here. There's no. The beds aren't in here. That's interesting. I thought the beds automatically appeared on here, but that's okay because I think I can make that happen for you. All right, here we go.
They didn't even know you changed that. Remember?
No, and what's interesting is that I did what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is the programming aspect of the show. For playing the music for the birthdays, you can supposedly put that in the program computer, and it should just show up when you are doing the show. And for whatever reason, we aren't getting that today for some reason. So anyway, without further ado, why am I not hearing it? I know why, because it's not in there. Here we go. Listen to that.
Got it.
All right, so we've got Larry Burr doing birthdays for today, February 21st, 2023. Larry, take it away.
Thank you, good sir.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Farmville. Good morning on this February 21st. I have Joe Morissetti from Burkeville, apparently the former mayor there. Isabel Clark, it's her 21st. Nope. Isabel Clark's birthday. Looks like Gail Cook. Happy birthday to Gail Cook. Happy birthday to Jack Roberts. And happy birthday to Susan Boiling. And I do have an anniversary here. And that is the 21st anniversary with Jean and Brenda Asher of Dillwyn. So happy birthday, everybody. Happy anniversary. I hope you all have an amazing day.
Whether you made our list or not, if today is your day, birthday or anniversary-wise, we hope you have a nice one. All right. So, we took care of weather. We took care of birthdays.
You're just crossing them all off your list, aren't you?
Well, yeah.
I'm good here. I got the birthdays done.
All right, we didn't miss anybody. Right?
What do we got in science today?
Science?
You got anything scientific that is interesting? I know the Starlink. Let me see. What was it? Elon Musk wants people to use his Starlink, and I guess he's charging $800 to get into the Starlink system. But it's one of those things. Wherever you go, you're going to have internet. So we'll see how that all works out. I also saw that Adele and Ed Sheeran pass on performing at King Charles's coronation concert.
They
and
passed,
Prince Harry's drama. Yeah, I guess it's just because of the drama. The royal family took a serious blow to their morale after both Adele and Ed Sheeran passed on a chance at performing at King Charles's coronation concert. The returned invitation comes after serious questions as to whether or not Prince Harry and his family will even show up on his father's big day.
Yep.
Wow. Drama and more drama, and then throw in a little royal drama, and you've got a royal mess, I'd say. What else you got there?
Let's see. Meghan Markle has been upset and overwhelmed by portrayal on South Park episode.
That's priceless. That's excellent. Well, you know, they were going to make that.
She's annoyed and upset, it says.
Yeah.
By Wednesday's episode of South Park.
I'm surprised it took this long for them to, you know, get them in there. That's great. Oh, here's something a little local. Virginia voters head to the polls in special congressional election.
Right.
So I guess that's
McEachin, who passed away.
Right.
I guess that's what that one's for.
So
it was announced on the news, top of the hour.
Oh, okay.
I think so.
The congressional district will pick their next representative Tuesday in a special election that could make history in the Commonwealth. It's a little. I guess it probably wouldn't affect us all that much since it's in a different district than we're at.
Yeah, I have no vote in that one, I guess.
Ooh. A professor at Florida Christian College that hosted the DeSantis may be fired for indoctrinating students on race. Keep it out of the schools. That's just probably the best way to handle all that. What you got?
South Carolina mother shot to death in Kroger parking lot after fight with woman she didn't know, police say. 2-year-old son was in the car. Gee Louise, that's... Wow. Well, there you go. There's the violent thing again about the guns and whatnot. I'm just randomly looking here. By pandering to the woke for his coronation, Charles begins his suicide note.
What?
I don't know. These headlines are pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's entertainment. It's like a tabloid.
Hey, rumors swirl about Blake Shelton's marriage. You know, he's married to Gwen Stefani of No Doubt. Well, formerly of No Doubt, I guess. And something about him leaving The Voice, which is another show I know of, but do not watch.
You never watched it. Did you watch any of those types?
I remember watching Idol way back when.
Yeah.
When it was still sort of new.
Right. That's
And then it quickly got old, and I just sort of gave up on it. My attention span on shows like that can wane after a year or two, and it's like, okay, I've seen that enough.
Did you see there was a voice competition that had, I'm pretty sure it was Dave Navarro from Red Hot Chili Peppers, and the guitarist.
And before that, he was with who?
I don't remember.
Jane's Addiction?
It could be.
I think so. But go ahead.
No, it's so. And then the guitarist from Bread, who is an amazing guitarist, and they did this competition, vocal competition for their next tour, going on tours.
Okay.
I never did see the tour, but did you see that show?
No.
I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was a good show.
No, because I deal in reality, the last thing I watch much of is reality-type programming.
Yeah, I do not like the Big Brother type of shows, where
didn't they do a show where NXS tried to find a new lead singer after Michael Hutchins?
Yes.
Had passed
I didn't
away?
see that one.
I didn't either, but I remember it being talked about. And I want to say maybe Journey thought about doing something like that, but they found their guy via, I guess, YouTube, the guy that's singing with them as of right now. But supposedly they've got a lot of lawsuits amongst the members of some of the original members of that band.
Well, and they're still touring. I mean, I saw them in concert 3 years ago with Def Leppard at a huge venue.
It's some anniversary tour they got either happening right now or soon to be happening.
And I enjoyed it. Although I will say I will always be and will always love Steve Perry above any other.
Yeah, I can't, I'm sorry. I'm not big on replacement singers.
No. And this guy doesn't do a bad job.
No, he doesn't. But at the same time, it's sort of. I'm like you. Steve Perry for me was the GOAT.
Yeah.
As far as vocalists go.
Yeah, I had one of my good friends in California be like, no, you did not see Journey, because Steve was not
right. Well, the Van Halen fan base was like that when David Lee Roth rejoined to be in the band for the tour, two legs of tours they did when Eddie Van Halen was still with us, and the fact that Michael Anthony, the original bass player, wasn't in that either tour. It was Eddie's son Wolfgang playing bass, and so a lot of people said, "Well, it's not the real Van Halen." Hey, if you got David Lee Roth on stage at the same time with Eddie Van Halen, I'm there. I don't care who the bass player is. I was more than happy and thrilled. Nothing against Michael Anthony, but
man, there are bass players all over the world just feeling really down and unappreciated from that statement.
Well.
Hey, bass players are people too. That's what I was taught.
I'll try to remember that. Hey, Florida's climate exodus has already begun, and it's only going to get worse.
Really?
Yeah,
Florida
is the canary in the coal mine of climate change, according to this. Longtime residents are already fleeing, and it's a scary omen for the rest of the U.S.
They don't really say, I don't know, it looks like one of those articles where they may be making associations that aren't really actually there.
I got a feeling you're right about some of this stuff. I think whatever I'm on is... clickbait is what they call that stuff, right?
I was in Florida, and I didn't see people.
You didn't see people fleeing by the hundreds? Or
there was absolutely
thousands?
No fleeing going on. I mean, you could barely get through the airport.
I was going to say, it's probably jam-packed.
Man, that was a terrible airport. They were so unorganized. They were so behind. It took us about an hour and a half to get through the security lines there. And I usually don't have that issue. It's usually, 10 minutes tops. And I travel a lot, so I would say avoid Miami airport if you can.
The few times I've been to Florida, we drove. I don't think I ever actually flew to Florida.
See that article, Ed Sheeran launching range of hot sauces.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not sure I like celebrities, pandering their food items to me.
But a lot of them do, especially older rock stars.
They do.
That Michael Anthony bass player guy I was just mentioning, he has a hot sauce.
Really?
And he's had it for years.
Oh, well, hey, I'm going to make a hot sauce. You think I can? Ed Sheeran's amazing. I mean, he looks like a happy guy, doesn't he? I mean,
maybe a little too happy.
But he always surprises me. Every time I see him, it's not like I hadn't seen him before. It's like, how did you do it? How did you do that super rock star thing? He is talented, though. His writing skills are
He's 32 years old. Says who previously joined forces with Heinz to release a limited edition tomato ketchup.
Oh my God, that's Edchup, EDCHUP.
You may upchuck from the Edchup, in which the tomato on the sauce is labeled Don Glasses and a, what does that say, fringe to resemble the castle on the hill hitmaker, has been working with expert food producers for almost 2 years and has now revealed his new brand, Tingly Teds. The condiment company, which is named after Ed's childhood nickname, will be selling tingly and extra tingly sauce around the world. But the Shape of You singer plans to take bottles with him wherever he goes in the world.
All right.
So if you bump into Ed, you can bum some.
He's supposed to be coming over for dinner in a few days. So
you get some Edchup then on your.
So how do you get a nickname as a child of Tingly?
I have no idea.
Okay. We'll have to ask him when he comes over.
That was a nice trip down that weird road. All right. What else we got here that's worth talking about? Hey, Magnum P.I. fans. Let's see. Entertainment news, a big day for Magnum P.I. fans after CBS canceled Magnum, NBC picked it up. That used to happen quite frequently back in the day, and I guess it still does every so often.
It must be a new version of this.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
I don't see any big mustache going on.
I do not like remakes of things that were already perfectly fine the first time around.
His mustache was amazing. I mean,
you're referring to Tom Selleck,
of course.
Okay,
it was a masterpiece.
You know, he lost out on the Indiana Jones gig because of that show.
Really?
Yeah. He Tom Selleck, when I guess Lucas or whoever was casting for the Indiana Jones character, originally wanted Tom Selleck, or that was an idea, and. This was what sort of happened to who was the guy that played Bond at one point, Pierce Brosnan. Yeah. Happened to him on Remington Steele just as well. The network or the show, whoever the head guy of the show that these actors were on, basically said, "No, you're under contract. You cannot go off and make some movie and blah blah blah." So because of their contract, Selleck lost out on Indiana Jones, and Brosnan ended up getting Bond, but later than when he was originally asked to do it. And so, yeah, that happened every so often.
He was, I can't imagine.
Tom Selleck is Indiana Jones.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine Indiana Jones being anybody but Harrison Ford.
Well, not now. Yeah. I mean, in Harrison Ford,
or it could be Fran, because he's
Oh, Francis could be Indiana Jones.
He could, don't you think so?
Especially when he was younger. From all the stories he used to tell me, what he did as a child, he was always in the woods doing
exactly.
things.
The man's an adventure.
Yeah, very much so. That's interesting. All right, well, let's see. The Rock is back. Well, does The Rock ever actually leave any?
I like The Rock. I can't help myself. I mean, that big old smiley face. I mean, seriously. It's just like, oh, man. I like it.
Control yourself, Larry. Control yourself. Let's see. What else we got? Hey, Pat Sajak asked confused wheel player, have you ever seen the show? Well, it was probably one of those things where the person didn't know how to play. Probably didn't know the rules or something like that. Probably.
Yeah.
I keep seeing things about the Wheel of Fortune thing about Vanna maybe being edged out or leaving. Or
really?
Something. Yeah, well, I don't know. It's like you said. I don't know if these stories are legit or if they're just sort of clickbait, kind of trying to.
I haven't watched that show in forever.
Neither have I.
I apologize if I insult anybody, but I thought Vanna had passed away.
No, Vanna's still with us. She's still turning those letters.
It's amazing. Good for her.
Yeah. And I haven't watched Jeopardy since Trebek had passed away. Yeah. And I know they've had a revolving door of host on that show.
It just goes to show you there can be controversy anywhere, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. You know what? The more I scroll down, the less I see interesting.
Did you see that go up? It looks like they're doing a...
Keep going? Or
yeah, a little bit. Yeah, Richard Belzer. It looks like the Law and Order is going to do some kind of tribute to him.
Well, yeah, he was on the show, so why not?
I wonder what they're going to do. If they're going to do an episode or...
They maybe do some flashbacks or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So that show's still on the air?
I don't know. Never was a big Law and Order fan.
Neither am I.
I know I just insulted somebody. What?
Well,
my son's a huge fan.
People shouldn't take, because someone else doesn't watch something as an insult. It just means you don't watch it. There's plenty of things I watch that other people don't watch, but I don't take offense to. I might go, how come this isn't more popular or something like that? But outside of that,
it's because you're kind of strange, dude.
Well, we already know that. There's no news there. Let's see.
Well, that's what we love the most about you.
Okay.
Bella Thorne
won't autograph sexy photos of herself.
Well, I guess she has that right.
But if you're sexy all the time, I mean, you can't, sign anything. Then I guess. Oh, these pictures are a little. I mean, the pictures, these stories. I don't know if we can really bring any of these up.
Hollywood.
Let's see.
Superman.
It's all
Batman.
It's all about superhero stuff, which there was a time it didn't bother me at all, but I think they've sort of watered it down so much by now. It's
all right, who's your favorite superhero?
Easy. You just mentioned him.
Superman. Why? Now you have to justify your choice.
Multitude reasons. Well, my dad was an influence on me as a kid, and Dad was a fan of Superman. His Superman was George Reeves, the old television show from back in the day where it was black and white at one point, and then it was in color. The guy that ended up committing suicide and pretty much ruined for young kids that follow. I mean, I couldn't imagine as a young kid dealing with that sort of thing of the guy that was Superman killed himself? What's that all?
Yeah.
My Superman was Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
And a lot of people thought those guys were related. No. George Reeves with an S on the end and Christopher Reeve with no S at all.
What? It's not his dad?
No. But anyway, make a long story short, I just remember when I saw that movie, of course, I saw it after it had come out in the theater. It came out, in 78? Something like that. And so I would have been all of 2 years old. But ABC back in the day would run the ABC Sunday night movie, whatever night of the week it was, and they would show it in 2 parts, and it was like this big grand event when they would show movies. They'd fill it. They'd show like extra footage of what wasn't actually in the film or was cut out of the film, and they'd make it a 2-night event. And I remember that being on annually around wintertime, or usually around Christmas time.
Yeah.
And so I just remember watching that as a kid, and I remember my dad either reading comics to me, or there was a picture of Superman in my room. I remember that on the wall, and I guess it just stuck with me at some point.
Pretty high expectations, isn't it? I mean, it's a lofty goal.
Yeah, well, I just looked up to him. I didn't actually, I'm not going back to kids doing what they see on TV. Do you know that in my dad's time, the Superman costume they would make for kids, on the cape, it actually said, "This will not make you fly."
I saw one the other day. It says, "Please remove children before washing." I thought that was great.
Well, there you go.
That's the
and it's things like that make you go, But yeah, no, Superman to me is the coolest one because he's got the best powers. He's best looking, best dressed, best. I'm just
I think Wonder Woman. That's what I'm going.
Well, Wonder Woman is like the female version of Superman in my mind.
Did you just have some kind of sexist remark there?
No. Even as a kid, I thought that before I even knew what that term was. I just thought she's the female. No, what I'm saying is she's the female equivalent of Superman.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
I thought that was Supergirl.
Yeah, but she came later.
She did.
She came later, and that was back when they were doing this thing in comics where they were like, well, hey, we got this male version of this guy. Let's make another character, and all we had to do is say, well, this is the girl version, and we have we have another character without any thought to it whatsoever. Kind of like what we're dealing with movies and stuff now. Let's not make anything new. Let's just make a remake of some other thing that has already existed.
And the ones that are the worst are when they're trying to do real films of animated features like Lion King and stuff like that.
Okay.
It's tough. It's like, why?
You're not a fan of that, huh?
I am not. Well, especially when they've been done 2 or 3 times already.
Well, that's kind of where I was going earlier when we were talking about remakes. It's like, okay,
we need some creativity.
Yeah, move on. Yeah,
I think creativity would go a long way everywhere.
I would think so.
You'd hope so.
I mean,
the politics is
nothing wrong with a little.
It's 8:56. Did you see that?
I'm sorry?
It's 8:56.
That means we have 4 more minutes to kill. Or just under. Let's see. Well, there's really not a whole lot here. I mean, it's some of the basic stuff we've already covered that I'm seeing. Other than that, I really don't see much else. We can give the number. We get a quick call in before we call it a day. 434-394-0924 is our number. If you would like to call into the Call Flow Radio Show, 434-394-0924. I won't have this tomorrow because if Chris is going to be here, Chris Wood, she'll more than likely be behind master controls here. and then you'll be here. And that will free me up to do the things I need to do. Whatever those things might be.
It sounds like a plan.
sounds good to me. So
wherever you want me.
We're sort of flying by the seat of our pants here. So out of the schedule here for today, I'm just curious, and since you're here, I might as well ask you while you're here next to me, when are you coming on?
I think I'll do 10 and 11. How does that sound? Give you a little break.
All right, so I'm going to be on again at 9 right after the show here, and then you are going to be on from 10 to 11.
And then 11 to 12.
All right.
So I'll do a couple hours this morning, and we are going to have a good time.
You will have Larry Burr on the midday show. All right, so that sounds good. All right. Not only do I know, now the listeners know what listeners we have.
The expectation. Absolutely.
All right. Well, like I said, I don't know why these spots are here because I didn't see anything about an open and close. And because I don't see an open and close, I feel uncomfortable playing those spots, which I'll find out somewhere down the line I should have played. But being things as they are, I don't know. We went from a sponsorship of, what was that, the Old Farmer's Almanac, and then nothing afterwards, so I just assumed that there was nothing else sponsored, even though we do have two spots staring us in the face. But anyway, all right, well, another Call Flow radio show coming to a close. Is there anything you would like to add, Larry Burr?
Just everybody get outside, enjoy this beautiful weather, and have an absolutely amazing day.
Frasier star Kelsey Grammer says religion guides his career. I did not know he was a religious guy.
Wouldn't have thought so.
But he is. According to this, Kelsey Grammer's knowledge of the Bible and prayer helped him prepare to play a pastor embracing the 70s counterculture movement in Jesus Revolution. Maybe that's what it stems from.
Yeah.
Preparing for a role. And that's the kind of stories you hear. 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 Kind of stories you hear.